Please, everybody, silence your cell phones, but when you do, check in and let the world know that we are solving all the problems right here in Kerrville. So at this time, I would like to invite Mr. Labatt up to lead us in our invocation and our pledge, please.
Thank you, Jeff. Let me just say it's been my great pleasure to become a member of this club this last 6 months or so. I've really enjoyed it, and it's been a great pleasure for me to come on Wednesdays and meet a lot of new friends, Rotarians. I'd like to just make some short comments today about loving our neighbor. And I think sometimes we get ourselves caught up with individual interests and we quit thinking about our neighbor. I recall from the Bible there in Leviticus is the golden rule. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. And of course, also in John, we in the New Testament, we read also that we need to love each other and think of other people rather than ourselves. So let us bow our heads, please. Dear God, I pray that we can reach out to our fellow neighbors and citizens and give them a helping hand, particularly those that are in need, that need food, or the poor, the hungry. Help us, oh God, to think of not only of ourselves, but let's think of our neighbors, love our neighbors, and follow the golden rule, which also, oh God, is very similar to what we say each day at Rotary with a four-way test. In God's name we pray. Amen. Oh, not doing my job. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Okay, this song may be a stretch for some of you. That it'll date you if you know how to sing it, but it's to the tune of "Don't Fence Me In," and hopefully we got it coming up. All right, and this is for our speaker today, Mr. Wayne. Okay, Wayne, the things he does are a little more high class than what we're singing about, but I figured this was a close thing. So here's Wayne's song. Oh, give us land, lots of land under starry skies above. We'll fence it in. Let us put up the posts and string the wire along. We'll get her done. Let us work right along in the evening breeze, whistling a tune about the cottonwood trees. We'll go on forever if you let us, please. We'll fence you in. Ooh.
Thank you, George. I'm going to be seated, please. It's always fun when we get the emails about the songs and the creativeness of between George and Dave Rittenhouse. So thank you, guys. Clint, I'm going to ask you to come up and please introduce our speaker that nobody in the club knows. So.
Well, that's true. Everybody knows him, but I'll ask all of you to think about whether you know how to pronounce his name correctly, which I learned getting ready for today. What we thought we'd do was to complement District Governor Christie's idea of showcasing some of our members, and we'd do some classification talks, which we haven't done in years. The only problem was the first person we asked, we found out he had a whole program. So that's what we're going to have today. But it does give us a chance to highlight the kind of person that makes a great Rotarian. He was born in Kerrville, but it took him 37 years to figure out how to live here. He's resided here since 2000. But in addition to being a very successful business person, he's very active in the community. He has previously coached and been parts of sports organizations for youth athletics for 10 years and a Tybee Booster Club member for 7. Currently, he is the Faculty Community Advisory Committee member for KISD. He's a member of the Career and Technical Education Advisory Board for KISD. He's a member of the Kerrville Chamber of Commerce Board. And lastly, he is a teacher, deacon, and lay leader for Trinity Baptist Church. And that makes a pretty good citizen. So let's make welcome with a special welcome to our speaker today, who will talk about Texas railing systems, whatever it does, and I'm anxious to hear, Wayne Uecker.
Thank y'all for giving me the opportunity to do this. First thing that I have to do is throw out a disclaimer, because probably about the first 5 or 6 years of our business, we answered a lot of phone calls. We have absolutely nothing to do with the railroad. Absolutely nothing. We cannot get you your seat on the train. We cannot haul your sand from here to there. But that would happen. That would happen just several times a week, it seemed like. You know, you pick up the phone and somebody's going, well, I need a ticket to Dallas. You know? Sorry, you're not getting it. And Dave, was the show able to run? There we go.
Should be running.
Okay, it is now. Thank y'all.
I
What's gonna
had
be playing
frozen
on
in the first slide, sorry.
Okay. What's going to be playing on the monitor is just some photos of some projects that we've done over the years and done. But the story I'm going to tell you about Texas railing systems is somewhat from what's been seen on the outside, but it's also going to be laced with our personal testimony and our travel in faith. And I hope that by the end of this, we'll have moved your faith and perhaps your walk and your witness. But I have to tell you, there's a story, and it happened a long time ago because it happened at an actual gas station, service station. A successful business owner pulled up there with his wife, and he was getting gas in the car. Well, the business owner goes in to pay for the gas, comes back out and sees his wife talking to one of the service attendants. He kind of looks at it for a little bit, and then he goes over to find out that she actually knows the young man, or knows the gentleman. And in the course of the discussion, it comes out to find that she was actually her high school boyfriend. Well, they get back in the car and they're driving off down the road for a little while, kind of silent. He goes, bet you're feeling pretty glad that you married me rather than than your high school beau, you know, because look where we're at. She says, no, it's not what I was thinking at all. I was thinking, if I'd have married him, he'd be the business owner and you'd be the service station attendant. The lady that gives me everything, excuse me, my beautiful bride Hollis is here with us. And then I've got my son Braden that works for us, and I've also got my father John that's over here at the table with us. But yeah, I was born here in Kerrville in '63 in one of the newer expansions of Peterson Hospital, and lived a bunch of places in between before re-arriving here in 1999. Spent 27 years doing cabinetry work and mill work. And in the last 8 years, I did that here in Kerrville and developed a real love for the commercial millwork. Texas Railings, we've had that business for now 13 years. And it's been a blessed thing for all of us. And I have to kind of laugh at that 13 years because that is 1 year short of the longest job I ever had. So another 2 years, I'll be an old man at this, I think. But one of the things that we say in our business is that we deliver the wow reactions by providing architectural guardrails in contemporary designs that focus on our slogan, Save the View. And we got that Save the View from a gentleman that's passed now, but David Vineyard, when he was operating Briscoe Hall. And I remember the day that we were in there and he was putting together our marketing stuff for us. And he laid the presentation down in front of me and shows me what all the graphics and the slogans and things that he's put together. And I'm going, my gosh, we've got a job to do now because now we've got to live up to this. I mean, he shot the bar so high for us that it's really amazing. We're not a very big company. We're just a handful of guys and we do our best in it. But he gave us an image that is just above and beyond. And we really enjoy that. But one of the good things about that Save the View, and we get to see some pretty awesome views, and I really love it because Genesis 2:31, God saw all that he had made and said it was very good. And there's some projects that we're sitting on and we're watching and we're looking, and I think God was there when he said it was very good because there's some awesome views that we get to see and witness. And we've been able to, in our process, we've been able to establish relationships with a bunch of national fabricators. And we do things that the common welder won't do and can't do. And it's a higher end product. And just sets the motion into a building and into a project that, yes, in that first part of our saying of we deliver the wow comes from one of the very first jobs that we ever did. And the homeowner's coming in to see what we're doing, and we're putting in railing on the 3rd floor catwalk. And she turns to her husband and hits him and says, "Wow, I want my house in a magazine." And I thought, if we can do that, we've made things that people really want and really desire. And we've tried to continue that. In that business model though, the commercial side of our projects or the commercial side of our business is about 80 to 85%. And then we do about the remaining of that 15 to 20% on residentials. But starting off was a bit of a difficulty. Through the years of 2008 to 2012, we were a family of 4 with young teenage boys living at the house, living off of a teacher's salary. And we had to lean on our faith in that time. And there was a lot of knee time that was spent going through theirs and going through that time. Summer of 2009, we got the call to install our first project, and that was Harlandale High School down in San Antonio. Fun and difficult project, but Doug Lydiak, who's been a member here, was very beneficial in that he gave me a $10,000 note with my pickup as collateral so that we could purchase materials. And we did that, got into this job, and the Harlandale Gymnasium was a gymnasium very much so like Peterson Middle School over here, the gym that was over there, built in the 1940s, 1950s, had windows all along on the sides up above the bleacher seating and everything. Was really great, had good ventilation at that time, I'm sure. But somewhere along the line, they decided to air condition the school and they air conditioned the gym. Well, then they boarded up all of the windows and they covered them. So being in a gymnasium at the end of July with no air. We were starting at 6 o'clock in the morning, and by 7 o'clock in the morning, the only thing that wasn't wet was the blue jean hanging outside your boot. And man, we were carting fans around and doing that. Spent, I guess, about 2 weeks installing that job. Got our money from that, and I went back and paid Doug Lydiak off and counting the rest of the money and went, you know, I guess we've got a business here that we can start off and that we can move and that we can go forward with. In 2013, we reached a milestone personally in that we were able to, 2011, we had gotten all of our other consumer debt and everything taken care of. And in 2013, we got our house paid off. And I can't tell you what a difference that made in the way that we operated our business. And I don't know that you ever had this moment or anything, but suddenly we didn't have to have that job. We didn't have to negotiate down to a lower rate or anything just to get that job in so that it could be cash flow to keep things flowing through. We could say, well, we gave you the price, and we could go on with that. And it was really fun during those years and starting out that a lot of times our proposals, because there wasn't anybody else really doing the work that we were doing. There is we've got competition coming through now. But during those times, it was basically just a decision as to whether the owners were going to write the check or not. You know, and it worked out that way really well for us. Up until 2014, we operated out of the house. I had a little office area up in the attic, and it was about as hot as that gymnasium was on some days. And then we did our fabrication work out of the garage, and we've actually got a sign or a picture over at the shop that has the garages of Apple and Microsoft and Harley Davidson and everything, where we put our garage on that one too, you know, so that we could do that. But we moved into leasing a building with Brian Harden. And that worked out for about a year and a half. And then we decided that we needed somewhere else and we needed somewhere bigger. And we were able to purchase a piece of land over here off of Harper Road. And this is a phenomenal deal that has to happen just because God's involved in it. But we purchased that land, signed the property on April 29th, and we moved in on July 1st. Just like 60 days, a little over 60 days on that. Yes, we needed to put some paint on the walls of the office, probably a little bit. We needed to finish a couple of things off, but in that 60 days, we were able to build the building that we're in now. And in this, there are so many God stories that I can say, because our guys were in between projects, so we really didn't have anything for them to go out and work on to bring money in. So what they did, we roughed in the electrical, we roughed in the plumbing, we did the landscaping work, we put that together. But one of the really neat God stories in this was the week before we were ready to move in, right at the end of June, Hollis and I had gone into San Antonio to run some errands. And this is on Sunday. And I've got U-Haul trucks that were going over to the old shop on Monday to start loading up. But on Sunday, we're driving home. I've got to back up. One of the first things that we did was when the roof went into the building, we put our rainwater catchment tank up there. Sunday, we're coming home. We had not had rain. I had a call in to a guy that was going to be delivering water there on Tuesday, going to deliver a truckload of water for us. And we're coming home on Sunday afternoon, and there's a big dark cloud over Kerrville. We got 3/4 of an inch Sunday afternoon. That 3/4 of an inch was enough rainwater to last us 2 months. And it continued to go like that, that things just continued to happen. Right after that, I got a phone call from an architect who had been a junior architect on my Harlandale project. And he's now a senior architect on a project for the Northside School District, the gymnasium down here off of 1604. And he says, need to talk to you about your cable railing. Can you come down? Go down there and we talk about it and we go through some couple of pencil sketches. I come back, put some numbers together, and we're awarded the project. And this project, the gymnasium's already under construction and happening. And come back and I'm doing shop drawings. And I get a call from the owner's rep that had been in that same meeting at the Northside Gym. Gentleman from Northside School District. And he says, Wayne, I've got 2 more projects. We're building another high school over off of Calabra Road. We want to put cable railing in that, and we're putting in the Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. We're changing that out, and we want to put the cable in that as well. So from that very first job where we just sweated our tails off, these other projects came in, 3 other projects. And this is really nice because the architect still calls me periodically and says, I've got another one. And establishing that relationship has just been a beautiful, beautiful thing for us. Through the years, we've been able to put in several high profile projects, these schools and things. Here, we've done some here locally. Laity Lodge, we did that a number of years ago. Roy Thompson's here. We did the stuff in Texas Hill Country Bank on there. We did Cecil Atkinson's motor. I don't see Trey, but we did that when they remodeled that. Camp Mystic, we've got a large part of that. Near and dear to our hearts was Tapatio Springs, because that was a project that when I lived in Bernie at the time, and I had gone out there looking for work when they were putting the golf course in. And we had looked at that. And then when they redid the clubhouse down there, our son Colin was working there. So he got to spy on it for me every now and then, tell me how we were coming along. The Tapatio Springs Clubhouse. Gerald Elementary was a huge elementary school project over in the Gerald area. One that we just wrapped up fairly recently, that biggest job I've ever done as far as the railing. We did some larger in the cabinetry, but Klein's Landing down in Port Aransas. Story that goes along with that is we were under contract to replace 1,400 linear feet on that project when that had gotten damaged in Hurricane Harvey. And then when the demolition contractor came through, the demolition contractor did another 6,000 foot of damage to the railing. So this job went from, yeah, we got this, to, oh crap, can we do this? And luckily we pulled it off. We got it done. Did a Manor High School over in Manor. Skipped over one, Kerrville Tennis Center here. This, I was talking about my older son being at Tapatio Springs, Kerrville Tennis Center. Spent 6 years watching my son play tennis over there. 7? Okay, I lied. Missed that one. But we had another fun one that kind of magnified itself, and that's Kerrville Tennis Center there that you see. had $140,000 contract to put in glass railing at the Porsche dealership on the north side of Austin. And I get a phone call from the contractor and says, hey, new plans are rolling out. Yeah, we're already under construction, need you to look at it. And we get the plans in, and I have to call them back and say, oh, golly geez, we don't do this. We don't do this style of railing. This was a very high-end stainless steel project, all polished stainless. And when I say polished, that means, yes, you can see your face in it when you look at it. And that project went from the 140,000 to just short of 500. And the distance from here to there didn't change. I mean, it was unbelievable how much it was dialed up on this thing, all custom sizes and everything. But what happened was the contractor says, you've already proven yourself. I want you to manage it, but here's a phone number of some people that'll fabricate it for you. So we played the middle in that one, and it worked out fantastic for us. One that we're wrapping up right now, North Park Lexus down on 410 in San Pedro. I was really blessed to receive the award on that and enjoyed it because my mother spent 20 years working there as a bookkeeper. You know, and that was just kind of, never did I think that she and I would work at the same place. And if you ever knew the relationship between my mother and I, you'd understand why. A lot of what we do, and we're already in discussions with it, but the Peterson Surgery Center, we do a lot of consulting and advising and design work up front. And we've already started having phone calls and conversations with that. One that Clint originally asked me about when he was talking to me was the Hardburger Park Land Bridge. And if you're familiar with that, that's a 150-foot wide land bridge over Wurzbach Parkway. And the interesting story on this one is that was the very last ranch land in San Antonio during Phil Hardburger's, when he was the mayor down there, and it became for sale. And Phil was able to find the money and put it together and purchase that land. And then as a couple of years have gone through, they bisected the property with Wurzbach Parkway. And somebody along the lines, the whole focus of the land is to try to keep it not as a ranch land, but as a park for people to go and visit and stay at, or run through and play, and bike trails and hiking trails and all. But somewhere along the line, somebody decided that the deer needed a better way to get from one side of the road to the other. So they put in this land bridge. And land bridge was one of the first in the country. We've also consulted on one. We didn't do it, and I told him I couldn't, but I consulted on one back up in I think it's right around the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. I know it's Oklahoma, and I'm thinking Tulsa. What's coming in? But our part of the Hardburger Park was a skywalk that enables you to walk along the treetops and elevate yourself up to the top of the land bridge and be able to walk back and forth across it. And he's sitting over here. We even made Todd Odom's house look a little better. When you come into our shop and you come in and you look around, we've got a couple of signs hanging up on the wall. One of the first ones is that just the word deliver. We deliver. And in that deliver, that says a lot of things, but it says we deliver the wow reactions by providing the architectural guardrails that focus on our slogan, save the view. Another one, very simple, save the view. That's what we're doing. You know, and all of these signs have a picture of a project that kind of corresponds with it. What was it? I guess it was early November when I invited Alex Judd here, and he told the story about this, about me saying, you know, the first handful of years of our business, our mission statement was feed my family. Shortly after that, I was at a conference and Alex stood me up in front of 4,000 people and related that story and talking about that and feed my family. And he gave some impact behind it. But all of a sudden in the break time, after he did that, I couldn't get to the restaurant. You know, people were stopping and talking to me about how their families had been impacted and how they had to work to feed their families and how it was put into that. So I came back and we redid, well, we didn't have the sign, but we put the sign up, feed our families, because that's what we're all working for. We're all working to supply for our family. We're all making that effort. And then fortune favors the bold. Got to be willing to step out in order to make your fortune and to set forth. But then another one is compete. And I love this one because if you've ever been an athlete, it'll speak to you. We compete at a level so high that others don't realize the game's being played. I want to win the game. I want to win this infinite game that we're playing before my competition even knows that we're playing a game. And then my special one, and I got this one from the rabbi that I read his book, Rabbi Daniel Lapin, Thou Shalt Prosper. The word is Avodah. And what Avodah means in the Jewish language is work, worship, and service. All in one. And it talks to that about in the Bible, mentioning over 800 times, talks about the workers going to the field to work, to harvest, to be a part of that. Talks about the priest going into the temple to prepare for the services and to prepare for the worship. And it talks about the people coming in to actually service and do the worship. As I said, mentioned over 800 times in its various forms. And in that, when we get into the Bible and we look at that, 45 of 52 parables that Jesus talked about had something to do about work and our relationships in those. And you go into the book of Acts, 39 of 40 divine encounters in the book of Acts all happen in the workplace setting and in that. And because I get the microphone and I've got the microphone right now, we're looking for people. We have, as many of y'all are, we've pretty much so dried up the labor pool around here. And we need people. And we need to do everything that we can to get those people. One, I need some installation help. Two, might need some high management help if the right person comes along in that. But I want to leave you with something that I came across out of a book that I'm reading right now, Faith-Driven Entrepreneur. And if you would allow me to read this for you. Excellence matters in a Christian operated business. If we believe that we were created in the image of God, who worked 6 days out of 7 and whose work was very good. Praise God that he didn't cut corners when he created the plants and the animals. And what makes us think that we should need to be any different? Why should we cut corners? If the God that you're worshiping isn't worthy of your very best, how weak is your God? My God is full of life and grace and mercy and excellence and faithfulness and beauty and wonder and so much more. An awesome God who makes me want to do nothing less than to serve him with every waking moment of my life. It is the degree to which we work and do our work well that we have an opportunity to witness and be heard. And think about that for a minute. When we're excited and we work hard, we stand out. When we are working hard, we do excellent work without the added pressure of needing some sort of perfection. We look different from the rest of the world. People want to know where that work comes from, where that effort comes from. Working hard and achieving excellence is a privilege that we get to worship our God with. Our perfect God uses our work to share his love with an unbelieving world. And when people interact with us and our services and our products, there is the possibility that they will notice something different, that something sets us apart. And when that happens, we get to point them to God. We are not doing a great work to receive personal glory, nor are we trying to achieve perfection this side of heaven. We are working hard because it is a great joy in giving our best to the God that has already given his best to us. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Wayne. Couple of Rotary announcements. Families in Rotary, if y'all would please keep Robin in your thoughts and prayers. Robin Myers, her sister is dealing with COVID right now, so please keep their family in your thoughts and prayers, please. Also, we had a kind of a big loss last week to the community. We lost some very influential pillars of the community, as I commonly referred to them as. But please keep the families of Alan Hill, Dash Peterson, Richard Ferris, and our own Johnny Grimes in your thoughts and prayers, as we all suffered a loss when we lost them last week. Rotary announcements. Tammy Prout. Your announcement. I like that. What?
Oh, thank you. Okay, if I call your name and you're seated, will you please come up here? What I would like to do is announce for you our proposed slate of officers and directors for next year, which would be Marta's year. The process is we introduce them to the club, and in 1 month we will vote to approve them. So you will have an opportunity to send in any information or thoughts that you may have. So I would like to introduce Marta Dippin, who will be your president. Jeff Wendling, who will be your president-elect. Christy Shepard, if you'll come up here, has agreed to be our incoming secretary. Jeff Harris will be our outgoing president and remain on board, as is always every year.
Thank you, George.
Gina Daniels will remain our treasurer. Board members will include Donna Peterson, who will be representing our satellite club on the board. Janelle Peralt. That was wrong. Your list was wrong.
Oh.
Sorry. Janelle Peralt. We had some issues, sorry. Todd Odom, Roy Boudreau, Tammy Prout. EA Hoppy will be joining our board as a new board member. That should be 11. And all we're doing is introducing them to you today so that you will know who they are. And then we will vote on it in 1 month. So thank you.
Thank you, Tammy. It's always fun to get caught like in elementary school. I'm going to say something real quick before I turn it over to Marta, because she has got some great information about the main event. But I can't believe it. We'll get this out to you. But how about 5 years for our golf tournament this year? As y'all all know, it's how we raise money for the first responders of our community. It will be Monday, April the 25th at River Hill Country Club this year. We'll have it sent out to the membership as well as posted around town. Please continue to play, continue to support, because that's how we give back to our men and women of that serve us so dearly. Marta.
Thank you, Jeff. Great news. We have 17 of our tables sold for the main event. So that's really awesome. We have a total of 20 tables, and some of them are completely sponsored by businesses and local organizations. And then we have a couple of tables that we're filling with Rotarians that are like, hey, I'll take 2 seats. Hey, I'll take 4 seats. Hey, I need 1 seat. So we're filling all those tables. That's going really well. I'm really, really pleased with the number of tables. And then the ticket sales, actually, thank you so much to those of you today that brought your funds. That bumped us up to nearly $10,000 on the ticket sales. So yes, thank you. There's a couple of people that we haven't been able to get their tickets to them. So Tammy and I and Robin were talking about maybe making phone calls, and I've been delivering tickets to other people around town. I'm happy to do that. Mr. Cranway, I will come see you. And so we're happy to do that. And we want to make sure that we get all these tickets put together and sold. Ideally, if we could sell, enough money to have enough tickets to have 20,000, that gives us a $10,000 buffer once we pay for the gift card that's the grand prize. Silent auction items, I think, Robin, you said last time you had over 50 that have already been put together. And so that's great. The silent auction items are coming in fantastic. And then I think Amber has been able to get quite a bit of the wine and whiskey also that she was looking for. So just keep it coming. Feel free to email me or call me. Again, I'm happy to deliver tickets or pick up funds from you. And we will make this event the best one yet. I see somebody pointing. Tammy? Okay, so the link for the silent auction, which will be online, will be out Monday morning. And so send that far and wide, post that on social media. People can bid from all over the place. They don't have to just be people within this room or online with us. And we're trying to get some live auction items. Christy talked to Trey Atkinson, and he and Cecil were talking about maybe donating, flying a couple to Colorado in their new wonderful jet. So we were trying to locate, could we find somebody with a timeshare or a vacation home in Colorado? And I know Jeff's working on something for us that maybe is going to be one of those big Komodo Joe smokers. So we're trying to get some live auction items, probably 4 or 5 would be awesome and great. And that way it's not something that goes well into the night, because I know everybody's going to be more interested in the gaming, but we do want to try to have silent auction as well. So I appreciate everybody. A lot of you have stopped by, you've picked up your tickets, you've bought your tickets, you've sold your tickets, you've bought tables, you've got seats. And it really is an endeavor that takes everybody in the club to make it successful, so that next year, when we're all sitting up here talking about the budget and we're saying these are all the things that we're going to get to do to make this community stronger, it's because of everybody that has done something for this event already and will do something for the event as we move forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Marta. And I will attest, she will meet you, because she met me at Discount Tire Saturday at 9 o'clock and brought me more tickets. So thank you for that. All right. One of you might know what's coming up, but the other one doesn't. So if I could please Weir and Bruce McKenzie, if y'all would please come forward. It's nothing bad. So, Weir's getting his Paul Harris fellow +4, and Bruce is getting Paul Harris +1. All right. Secretary Winland. Guests, which I know we have quite a few. We have one. Yes, sir. Thank you. Next Wednesday here at 11 o'clock, correct? For our new members, orientation here at 11 o'clock before the meeting next Wednesday. Thank you, Charlie, for making sure I remembered that because I did not. And General has a list and he had to leave.
Yeah, Mike's back there and Mike Cruz is the guest of General Walter and Rob had to take off unfortunately. So welcome. Wayne, your family here, which you've already introduced. Thanks for being here. And, that was over the top, buddy. Well done. Janelle?
My guest today is Chris Carpenter. He's a recent new resident in Kerrville. He's in the mortgage lending business. He goes to Johnson, and he will work again.
You're here. Tanner, welcome back, buddy. Anybody else that we missed? Okay, I got a paid announcement here a little bit. Can I talk about the golf tournament real quick?
Sure.
Yes, thank you so much for supporting the golf tournament. First responders, advanced training, et cetera, is funded through the golf tournament. But you all understand that. And of course, the awards are funded through the golf tournament also. So a little stat to let you know that your money hasn't gone to Wendling's condo in Manila for the remodel. Well, maybe part of it did, but at any rate, we've been able to sponsor 113 different events for different first responders in the three categories of law enforcement, fire, and EMS. Breakouts heavy on the LE side because there's more of them. And what we've been able to do is bring them into more contemporary training environments and introduce subjects to the cadre, which will build their skill set, help with their leadership skills, and also pay me a stipend for being able to get that together for them. That's a joke. I just want to thank you. You know, I've done this for 51 years. And y'all don't have to stay with us, but you have, you and your friends and everybody else that's brought their hard-earned dollars to the table to be able to build that. We're sitting at about $38,000 right now. And I talked to a chief that is very strong in leadership about trying to bring him in. So anyway, it keeps marching on and it really is helping the community. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff. Kelly, you have a paid announcement as well. Thank you, ma'am. That's Andy Murr is going to be at Monroe's tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning for coffee. So for all of our Zoom guests, if y'all would like to try to attend that. So, thank you, Kelly. Fun time. She was already announced as a incoming secretary. So maybe she'll have a Rotary pin on today. And she does. So she gets a bottle of wine.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Christy. So join us next week at 11 o'clock if you're a new member, so you can get oriented with the ways of Rotary. And then meet us here for our meeting at 12, when Aaron Davis is here from the Texas Forestry Service. So it sounds like an interesting program with that. So if there's nothing else from the club, I'd invite you to please stand and join me in the four-way test. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it true, fair to all concerned, will build goodwill and better friendships, and will be beneficial to all concerned?